It might be easier for you when you're climbing up your career. Maybe you're at a mid-manager level position and you're thinking, okay, maybe I could relax a bit now, and then when I'm going up to senior manager or be going into more senior management roles, then I will probably up my game a little bit. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm so happy to have you here. It's a very important topic that we'll be discussing, one that is actually quite chilled, so it's just going to help you do life a little bit better. And as you know, my name is Carina, darling. I'm the face behind this brand. I'm a wellness blogger and blogger. I love to talk about things that we millennials go through. I'll give you the tools to be able to manage your life stress-free. So I am really excited about the topic today, and the topic today is 6 tips on how to live a balanced life. So here are the 6 ways that we can actually have a more balanced life. And the first one is actually accepting that there is no perfect work-life balance. And the reason I mention work is that my wellness channel is predominantly aimed at professionals who work in capital cities, and most of these professionals have careers in their field, and therefore their work is very important. So it's important for me to talk about having a balanced work life. And sometimes our definition of having a balanced work life is, oh, I have to be very productive in work, and also I have to play hard as well. And yes, that can be true, but to an extent. However, it's important to also recognize that there are some days that perhaps you don't have to attain that level of perfection. There is no perfect work-life balance. It doesn't mean that I have to work very hard and then I have to really play very hard. No, it just means what works for you. Some days you might choose to spend a lot more time at work, and other days you spend doing less work and then having more time for yourself. It might be easier for you when you're climbing up your career. Maybe you're at a mid-manager level position and you're thinking, okay, maybe I could relax a bit now, and then when I'm going up to senior manager or be going into more senior management roles, then I will probably up my game a little bit. That could potentially work. Or some people might think, okay, as starting off in my career, I will put all the energy that I can, and then in my mid-career I will find time for family, for relationship, which is what most people that work in the cities tend to do. And then later on, when they're going into a more senior role, then they up the game again, and then they start to really apply themselves. All these are good structures and good strategies. I think when we talk about work-life balance, we have to remember that it's not one size fits all. It's what your circumstance is and what works for you. You might at the early stages of your career have a family, and that changes the dynamics, that changes how you're going to then structure your life. And then you might decide that, okay, actually I've got my family now, then I'm going to do something totally different, and that's understandable. It's just knowing that there's no perfect way of going about it, but what works for you might not work for the next person. So you have to look at your personal circumstances, your life. I would like to share with you today is ensuring that you find a job or a business that you love. I can't stress this enough, and it probably is one of those ones that we know theoretically, we know in our head that yes, this is what I need, but actually when the reality hits, we don't quite do that. I remember very early in my career, I always asked myself the question. I said, do I want more money or do I want to have a work-life balance? Very beginning of my career, that was a decision I made even before I started my first graduate job. And my conclusion after assessing my life at the time is that I would rather have a work-life balance. So I'd rather have a job that does not take me into late hours in the evening, and I can go home either between 6 and 7 and get on with my life, than a job that pays me 6-figure salary at the starting stage of my career, for example, but then that means that I don't have a life and I work all night in mid hours of the morning, and even weekends I'm working. Which I do have friends that have done that. and people who have pursued that area, and yes, they had more disposable income, but then they were burnt out. They had so much stress as well. So it just depends on what works for someone. And for me personally, I decided that I'm going to actually focus more on me and do my job, because I'm still learning the job. I did not want it to take over all my hours. So that was a decision I made very earlier on in my career. And looking back now, 10-11 years later, I'm still making that decision. I still feel that my work-life balance is important, in terms of the hours that I give to my work cannot supersede the hours I give to myself. And when you're starting your career, you ask yourself those questions. And especially as women as well, you ask yourself, okay, what kind of life do I want? How do I want to manage my life? And then see the doors that are open and then pursue those doors. But also an understanding that, okay, this is a step I've taken. And so for me, one of the ways that when I see my friends, that probably my peers at that time, that had more disposable income, I always said to myself, well, I have more time now to get to know myself, get to build my personality and my identity, get to grow friendship that perhaps I haven't had the chance to do. And so I was able to just process so many other things and have time for community activities, if there are charities that I supported, if there were places I wanted to go to. So I had a bit more of a fuller life in that sense. And yeah, maybe not have the thousands and thousands of money in the bank, but I was still able to meet all my needs. I was still able to have my wants satisfied. I was still able to save. I'm a big saver, so I was still able to save quite a lot to be able to buy the things I wanted to buy. So for me, in terms of financial reward, I felt I was well rewarded in terms of the time and the effort I put into it. And so it was a balancing exercise of asking myself questions. Where do I want to be? What do I want to achieve? And what is most important to me? I'm progressing with those things and having confidence that the decisions I've made are right for me and me alone. So I've looked at 2 tips, and now I'm going into the third point of how to have a balanced life, and that's prioritizing your health. Guys, I can't say this enough, especially we women. I've noticed that women are not very good at prioritizing our health, and to be very honest, we probably have more checkups to be done in our lifetime because we raise a family, we rear children, we bear children, and so obviously there is a need for us to check so many different things. One of the things I do is every other year I have a full health checkup. I also shared my journey through anemia, which will pop up just above the screen, and so you can also check that video and see if there are tips there that can help you. I used to suffer from iron deficiency, and I talked a lot about the things, the health benefits of certain products for them to help in terms of getting healthier and feeling better from iron deficiency, to a point where I was no longer iron deficient, and by the grace of God I defeated that disease. And so it's so important as women to constantly look at ourselves and look into our health. Another thing I do is every 3 to 4 months I go for a health checkup with my local doctor, just to see that my blood and everything is as it should be, and if there are any lack, I might hopefully have the support that I need, whether in supplements or food, to help me boost that area. I can't say this enough because I have spoken to a lot of women, and I realize that we women sometimes we really don't put our health first, and it's so important for us to do, especially as people who are responsible for bringing babies into this world. Our bodies are really complex, they really are. It's important for us to have those gynecological tests and appointments with our gynecologist. So as women, it's so key that we focus on our health and we look after ourselves, and we book those appointments to check our health. And another thing that is quite important is if you do suffer from chronic disease, whatever type of chronic disease it is, or even if it's not a chronic disease, if you see yourself feeling fatigued, do not fail to take the odd day off and just say, oh, I'm not feeling too well, I need to rest. Another thing I do, which at work, sometimes I just book a day or 2 from work and just stay at home. I book it as holiday and I just stay at home and recoup, because we need those times to refresh our body. So that could be something that you could explore and think about. Perhaps maybe you might have a day or 2 coming up and you think, you know, what can I do? I could either go to a spa weekend, which I always love, or you could have a pamper session at home and book these appointments to come to your house and treat you, or you might just book it to sleep. there is nothing wrong with sleeping, especially when you've worked hard. You need to sleep and rest, so do that. Get the help and the support that you need. And another thing, and it's also quite important to note that, for example, if you're sick and you don't book time off to get well, it can get worse, and then you have to book a lot more time off from work. Whereas if you dealt with it earlier, maybe that day or two that you booked off sick from work might be the only time that you need off, but because you kept pushing it and telling yourself you'll be fine, you end up taking a week off work or 2 weeks, which at the end would affect you and also affect your company. So do not feel shy to take those sick days off. Obviously, don't take advantage of it and don't abuse it, but they're there for a reason, so use them if you have to. Don't drag yourself into the office or into work because you feel, I have to do this. No, you don't have to. Take the time off that you need and rest and recover and feel better, because a better you, a fuller you, a healthier you is more productive for your company than a you that is half. Maybe you're half well and you are not your 100% at your optimum level, and sometimes that's not quite good. So think about these things. Prioritize your health, especially women. I think it's really important that we do this and really think about how we can add things in our diary to look after ourselves. I'm just going on to the fourth tip for you, which is ensuring that you give yourself time. Ensuring that you give yourself time, aka know when to unplug. Just knowing when to step aside and give yourself that overdue holiday, that overdue time off to just reflect and ponder over what you want to do, where you want to see yourself, and most especially just take a break and not have to worry so much about what you have to be doing, and just taking that well-deserved break and well-deserved time off to unwind and recharge, just to unplug from the busyness of life, so that you can find yourself again and find perhaps your creative juices again, and just give yourself the time that it deserves. And sometimes it could be a holiday of, I don't know, a week or two, or perhaps even a longer holiday of 4 to 5 weeks. It could be any of those, or even going for a pamper session, going for a weekend away in a spa, and just having time for yourself and loved ones. I think that can never be said enough. I think it's really important if we are looking at having a more balanced life, is ensuring that we have that time given to ourselves to recharge and just give ourselves the self-care that we need. They don't have to be expensive. These can be tips that you do in your house actually, and they're not going to cost you much money, and you can just have the well-deserved break. So the fifth point I want to share with you is to learn to set boundaries and working hours. I know now that we're all working from home, majority of the people are working from home. It's quite hard to actually set that boundary and say, okay, this is the workspace, this is the home space. It's not very easy, but where possible, set things, demarcate places in your house to make it look like, okay, this is work, this is office, and at a certain time, I am out of this. I'm not going to be doing this anymore. I'm going to spend some time for myself. I'm going to recharge, I'm going to recoup, and I think that's quite important. So set times for yourself, set boundaries. And also, boundaries do not only mean in terms of your business or your career, how long you're going to do something for. It could also be setting boundaries with people, the demands that people have over your life. How do you set those boundaries? How do you ensure that no one is imposing on you what they want you to do? Sometimes you have demands on you from colleagues, from workers, from your spouse, from your children, from your family, your parents, your siblings. Everybody would have expectation, and everyone somehow would have expectation of what they want you to do. It's so important that sometimes you have to just step away and say, I'm sorry, I can't do that. As much as I would love to, and politely decline from doing that, and then give yourself the time. There's nothing wrong with saying, this weekend I'm going to be spending it with myself, so unfortunately I won't be attending that event, or I can't come to this other event that you're inviting me to. There's nothing wrong with that. So it's quite important for us to set those boundaries in our lives and set those demarcations so that we know when people are probably stepping beyond their boundaries. And there's nothing wrong with us setting those plans and saying, I need a holiday for myself, I need some time to go away and just be alone. There's nothing wrong with that. So I just want to reassure you that it's fine to set boundaries, either with families, with friends, with colleagues, with your business. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And set times. One thing I do is on my phone, my phone is set to a particular time. When it gets to a certain time in the night, like about 10, my phone is set to log off. So it logs off every app, it logs off phone calls are not going to be able to come in, text messages, nothing. I can't even use the phone. It's like literally holding a gadget that does not work. And that's how I have set it, so that it warns me. It tells me maybe about 9 or 9:30, it will tell me that, oh, it's about to shut me out in 30 minutes, and 5 minutes before it will tell me that it's 5 minutes before shutdown. And once it's that time, that 10 o'clock, it literally just shuts down. And a lot of times it means, okay, this is now your time to go and sleep or rest or shower, whatever you're going to do, and I won't be using the phone until a certain time in the morning where it picks up again. So it's quite important to set those things for yourself, those boundaries, so that you live within those boundaries. And boundaries are not bad, they actually help us to have a more balanced life. Last but not least, think about hobbies that you like. Hobbies, exercise. I love to exercise. I love the outdoors. I love outdoor sports. I love to go hiking with my friends by the sea. I'm going for a long walk in the country. Some people love tennis. Some people love squash. I used to play squash many years ago, which I want to go back into. There's so many things that you could do that you enjoy doing. Some people love drawing. They love to design. I love to write. I love to read. Those are hobbies of mine. Never let the busyness of your life take away those things that you enjoy, because it's through those things you enjoy that your inner self comes back and you're able to reconnect with yourself. I love to spend time with God, and these are times when I spend that time, it recharges me. I am refreshed. I see myself in a different way. I see the things I'm not doing right, the things I can change, the areas in my life that can be better. These are all things, these are all hobbies, these are all part and parcel of your life. And so that's the 6th point, to tap into yourself. Do not push your hobbies away, actually bring them closer into your life to have a more balanced life. So you have a time that you work, the time that you spend with people, the time that you reconnect and recharge on your own, the time that you go and help other people and help the community you're part of, and then the time that you just go and be you and do the things that are most interesting to you. I hope through these 6 points that I've shared with you today that you'll be able to have a more balanced life, a life that is not excessively busy, but you can tap into the areas of your life that will be more quiet, that will help you to have a more relaxing life and a more fulfilled life, because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you navigate life stress-free. So I hope you've enjoyed this topic today, and do not fail to leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there are videos that you would want me to do, topics that you want me to explore a bit more, if you want me to go back to another topic and really talk about that topic a bit more so that it can be of more benefit. I'm here for you, so whatever you need my help with, just do not hesitate to mention in the comment section below. And hopefully I'll see you next time. Until then, take very good care and have a great week ahead. Bye guys.